Hi, thanks for joining me. Well, time to try something new, or at least new to YouTube anyway. We've got 4 cards here, and this is a pick a card reading. The cards don't necessarily go together, but as always with my readings, the most important interpretation, friends, is the one that you put on them. Now, we've got a subscriber giveaway in this video, and this is what what I'm giving away this week. It's pink rhodonite, a pink rhodonite bracelet. It's about 7 inches long altogether between the two clasps, and when the clasps are done up, it becomes about 6¼ inches, so equivalent to that in a stretch bracelet, if you like. But beautiful pink rhodonite here. I will post it anywhere in the world, so get those fingers out and get subscribing, whatever you do. Okay, so have you picked a card yet, guys? We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And whatever you want to choose, it's entirely up to you. But why not take a look at them all? Because this is from, let me reach over, this is from Tony Carmine Salerno's Ask an Angel deck. I've had it quite a long time now, actually, but it's a very intuitive deck, and it's brought some wonderful readings out. So it's all about the angels. So get asking those angels, get subscribing, and we'll make a start on card number 1. And if you chose card number 1, this is what it's all about. Let's just turn it over. Oh, right, Archangel Sandalphon, and it's all about prayer. Now then, what has prayer got to do with love in a love reading? Well, love is very much a tricky thing to come across. I mean, we can find it often quite easily, but do we find real good love? Do we find divine love that's actually taken us somewhere? Because that's what we need if a relationship is going to last. We're really looking for our twin flame, aren't we? And in terms of asking the angels to help, well, that's a really valuable thing to do. Whenever we pray, we're opening up the crown chakra here. And although love and the angels relate to all of us, the whole body and everything we do, this is our first point of contact. When I work as a spiritualist medium, I'm always thinking about opening my crown chakra to begin a reading or a message or working in a church, whatever I'm doing. And I always close it down again afterwards unless I've got the intent of holding it open. So there's a little reminder to you. If, like me, you are a light worker, don't forget to close down at the end of a reading. It's a bit like putting a cloth over a crystal ball. As I often do with this one, when you're not actually reading with it. There's something in the intent and the intention there that keeps things covered up until you actually need to use the divine connection or whatever it is that you're actually getting from the tools that you're working with. And your own heart and your own mind are very important tools. The crown chakra is where we need to open up because that's the interface with the angels. So as we're looking for love, or as we're trying to make a relationship last or make a relationship better, maybe to bring healing into a relationship, that's what we need to be thinking about, the crown chakra, and we need to be asking the angels. We've got all these lotus flowers here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a fine magical number there. 6 of them. So whatever you're focused on, number 1 people here, you're actually more than halfway to getting to what you're actually looking for and to getting in tune with what you're asking to get in tune with. So that's really positive. You might even find miracles to help you along the way if you open up and actually pray. That's what Archangel Sandalphon is all about in this card. He's also got a lot to do with breaking old habits, so do think about that. Are you actually in a situation where you've just been in it for so long that you've given up on trying to change it, or maybe you just feel, there's no need to change it. But if there's some things that are twanging on your heartstrings and making you want things to be a bit different, don't give up, whatever you do. Just say a few prayers, okay? And then more good is bound to come in. Healing is bound to come in, basically, and that is going to improve things a lot. If you pray from a truly loving and open space, and in a state of humility as well, accepting that, we need this divine input because we are only human. In terms of answers and assistance and help coming in, all you've really got to do is to be open to it and asking for that to happen when the time is right, and having an open heart and being willing to take responsibility for what happens as well, because we are all accountable to our lives. So open that space up, get that connection going with the divine, with the angels, and the sky's the limit, really. You would be amazed what can heal, and you'd be amazed at how much it can heal if we actually start looking up and out from the world that we live in at the moment and trying to connect to the divine. That really makes such a difference. Okay, so number 2. Here we go, number 2, people. Sexuality. There's not too much I can say about that in terms of what it actually shows you, but it's a very powerful image. And sexuality is actually a very powerful spiritual thing in our lives, in modern life and in the way we tend to look at the world, particularly through the internet these days. Sexuality has become cheapened a lot in many people's estimation, and many people's view of their own body has been cheapened by that as well. And that's a great shame, because a lot like prayer here, where we open the crown chakra, sexuality is a form of connection to the divine. And it's a connection really between the divine and who we are. It's a physical expression of the soul, and it's what really connects the soul body, the light body, if you will, to the physical world. It's an inspiration as well. It gets us expressing ourselves, our bodies, maybe clothes, makeup, body art, dancing, that kind of thing. Well, all of those things really. And through sexuality, we reveal the deeper side of our nature. So it's not the cheap thing that the world would have us believe it is. And I'm sure if you think deep in your heart, you'll know there is something very divine about sexuality. It brings us to life. It really gets things, it puts a spring in your step, doesn't it? If you meet someone and you're getting on well on a sexual level. If you're not getting on well on a sexual level, particularly in a long-term relationship, that can actually cheapen the whole feeling of life. And that's a shame, because sexuality is really responsible for some of the highest expressions of the self, and that means that it really allows you to be yourself, and being yourself is so important. I said that in just about every reading I've ever done, and I've said it in all my astrology readings. More of which are coming, by the way. I'll get to work on February 2020 in the next couple of days. And being yourself is really important. We all come to this world with some kind of mission. And sexuality is an important expression of the self. It really is. We've got the stars in behind this lady's head, and wonderful colours swirling all over the place. So many different colours inherent in this, it's hard to pick them all out. But there's a lot of sort of red, yellow into purple here. And so I'm really looking at the purple of healing, and also the red of going forward powerfully, and being in your sexual self with the angel Anael here. Really does link you to the higher chakras, and that of course links you out there to the angels, to the spirit world, and that is a really good way to attract a partner into your life. You might like to see my video, which is, I made it a bit funny to be honest, about 5 ways to manifest your dream partner, but I think there's some vaguely interesting stuff in that. But sexuality, it's so important. And if you chose card number 2, this then is a time to reflect on any questions about kind of sexual connections that you may have. And it's a time to be wanting to bring balance into this area of life. If you've got a relationship that needs healing that way, or if you're wanting to bring in a new partner, heal and balance those things within yourself. Whatever's going on might not be your fault. That's not what I'm saying at all. But heal these things within yourself, folks. That is the main thing to do. Other people that come in will only reflect the true feelings that you have about yourself, and often those feelings are hidden, and that can set up a tension within a relationship. That can make an awkward feeling. That can really make it quite difficult to go forward and just to feel comfortable within yourself, because the sexual soul, the sexual self, is all a big and very important part of the real you and what you're all about. So it's time to love yourself. Don't be afraid to explore sensuality, to be sensitive, and as you're doing that, honour your body as a sacred thing. And then, my friends, you will be able to enjoy your sexuality. do think about subscribing to my channel, please. If I can get to 1,000 subscribers, I can start working live, and then you can actually ask me for a card for you personally. I was actually doing that until YouTube changed the rules. It was about a year ago now, and I just need to get to that 1,000 subscribers, so it's going to make a difference, and it's also going to give you an opportunity to win this. And I really like these things, actually. I mean, I make them myself, so I suppose I would say that, but we've got a real nice daisy toggle clasp on there. Can you see that? Let's just get it in shot there. Lovely toggle clasp, and if it's a bit on the long side for you, and I made it just a little bit long, most ladies like about a 6.5 inch bracelet. This is 7 inches, but you could remove a couple of links out from there and, you know, change it around whichever way you want and make it actually fit on. I'm sure it's going to be on its way to someone out there very soon, so do get subscribing. I'll draw that in the next day or two, actually. Won't be too long about that. And then whoever wins can send me their address, I hope, or maybe email me at 35and83@gmail.com, and we'll make an arrangement to get it posted out to you anywhere in the world, absolutely anywhere in the world. So do subscribe, please, and when you do, tap the bell to receive all notifications. That's the way to go, because that will actually open up more that I can do for you. And if you've been drawn to my reading here, I would respectfully suggest that you and I have got some kind of meaning to each other. We'll be able to help each other in some way. So I look forward to connecting with you. And all of these cards are going to turn out to be about connection in one way or another. So we'll come on to card number 3. Did you choose card number 3? Let's find out what card number 3 has to say to us now. Archangel Zadkiel, and it's all about forgiveness. And we've got a lot of truth here, actually, because of the turquoise colour. So it's not just speaking your truth, it's about becoming surrounded by truth. And that is bound to heal any relationship. That is bound to make love a more genuine and more happening thing in your life. And we can see there's an absolute fire of love going on in this lady's heart chakra here. So with Archangel Zadkiel. Now we have to forgive a lot of the time. It's a very human thing, and it's something that we're always being called on to do. It can actually get a bit tiring and a bit wearing, because we do see atrocious things going on, atrocities happening all over the world. You've only got to watch the news. In fact, I avoid watching the news, to be quite honest, guys, because I don't like what I see on there a lot of the time. But the thing is, we are actually all sent into this world, and I'm sure the divine influences that send us here and the angels who work to help us actually know that this is what we're signing up for when we incarnate into an earthly life. Somehow it's all written in the book. Somehow we're all sent here so that the times of things line up somehow. And, you know, it all means something one way or another. And whenever we see something dreadful happening, there is actually an opportunity to forgive there. And it must be very hard, actually, to see the chances to forgive in many situations. But I think we're all familiar with, for example, you know, parents of someone who's been murdered who will actually want to forgive the killer. And that must cost them such a lot, must be such an expensive thing to do. But goodness, that really makes a big difference in opening your heart. So really, all of these things that go wrong, all of these things that we feel we must forgive, or that maybe we feel we can't forgive, but we just know in the back of our minds that we need to find that forgiveness, have to do with dark and light and coming into balance, really. If there was no darkness, we wouldn't actually be able to see the light. And if there was no light, we wouldn't realise that we lived in a state of at least some darkness, because there is always some darkness around. It's not that we choose to actually put ourselves into situations that are bad or harmful or difficult, but bad things happen to us just as much as they happen to anyone else out in there in the world, because it is all part of a human life. The universe is always balanced, you know, and how do we come to be balanced as well by the universe? Well, partly because the universe is balanced, and that means it's a natural thing. But we get to sort of choose what we want to put in, what we want to give to life. And, you know, it's hard to forget that it's often Well, no, we can't forget really. That when things break down, when something goes wrong, that is the opportunity to change and to grow. It happens within ourselves as well. We have to come to see the potential for growth in ourselves. And every time we make a mistake or feel we've made a mistake, and I think we feel we've made a mistake very much more often than we actually do make a mistake if it comes to that. But every time we feel we've made a mistake, we might have hurt someone else. We might have hurt ourselves, whether we knew we were going to do that or not. And we might have been hurt by others. We get into a situation then where hurting another person becomes the only way to tell the truth or to force them to stand on their own 2 feet and be accountable for themselves. That's tough love. But you know what I mean? It's a balancing thing. It's cruel to be kind, and there is kindness in there. So every time that happens, it's another opportunity to bring balance into our own lives. Now, in relationship situations, that is so important, because if you're with someone for long enough, sooner or later, there will be something to forgive. And it's as well to forgive if you possibly can, because sooner or later, you're probably going to need forgiveness, because that's the nature of things. That's the balance. And relationships and love are a part of the universe, a part of life, a part of what links us to the angels, and a part of what really links us all to each other in this world as well. Somebody once said that God dropped a glass ball on the earth and it shattered, and we are the fragments, and we're always going to be trying to move together and fuse back into a whole. That is so much about what the spiritual life is about, and it's very deeply what love is all about as well. And when passion comes in, that can make things really kind of the colours of the world turn black and white. That can make it very difficult to actually find balance and answers through forgiveness. But focus on that, guys. If you picked card number 3, particularly, that needs to be focused on. Even if you picked one of the other cards, they're all something that's worth thinking about in terms of love. It's a journey. So this card says it's a time of letting go of past hurts for you, and it's time to see life from a higher perspective. So, accept yourself. Forgive yourself if you need to, and that can include forgiving yourself for getting involved with the person that you really feel you've got to forgive, who's the other person in your life or your relationship. But if you do that, you can fill your heart with actual self-forgiveness, and that love will then flow into the world around you, and it'll make such a difference. The more love we're putting out there, the stronger we are in terms of any relationship and just in anything that we do in life. So we'll move on again, and we'll come to card number 4. Did you choose card number 4? Well, in that case, of course, this is for you. But if you chose any of these other cards, I'm sure card number 4 is going to have to say something to you. It's come up for a reason. It must do it. So let's take a look. What have we got? Archangel Gabriel. Right, a beautiful card, actually. This is one of my favourite looking cards in the deck. There is great darkness on one side of it, but there is always a balance between light and dark, is there not? And any artist actually brings light into the world. Now, if you chose card number 4, you're being called upon to be the artist in this situation. So what are we looking about? What are we talking about? Well, art is a kind of a message. Again, it's a way of connecting to the higher realms, just like prayer, just like sexuality, just like forgiveness. It's about connecting to the higher realms, and that's why these come up as angel cards, and we've got Archangel Gabriel in charge of this one. A very powerful image there, and a very powerful message behind it as well. It's a lot to do with giving birth of an idea into the world. Now, if you've ever had difficulty bringing children into the world, and particularly as some of my friends have, if you've lost a child in childbirth, it can be very, very difficult to see yourself as in any way able to create or to bring anything new into the world. But you really can. Every human being can, no matter what has gone wrong in the past. There's something waiting to birth through you at the moment. Anyone who chose number 4 there. We've got the star, we've got the kind of Star of David in a very magical Merkaba symbol there, and this symbol, all the symbology of this is really adding up. But these remind me of tears a little bit, although they also remind me of beautiful crystals, maybe ruby, something red, something powerful, and some pink of the heart chakra involved there too. So there is great positivity there, and this is really about what ideas can you give birth to into the world. Look at these rays of light shining from Archangel Gabriel's blue eye there. Really positive, really powerful communication going on. Now, if you've got an artistic idea, then that is just what this is about. But just about anything that you actually want to bring into the world or feel that you should bring into the world is coming through for a reason. Even if you don't feel like bringing anything into the world, but you get a reading and a card like this comes up telling you that you're on your way to bringing something into the world, do listen to it, because that means that the art is somehow waiting to get through and sees you as the perfect channel. That's the thing that any artist who's successful or otherwise actually has to deal with. Whatever idea they've got needs to be expressed one way or another. I tried my hand at painting years ago and I was rubbish at it, and because of that I've never bothered trying to paint a picture since. But maybe I should have. Maybe I would have actually found a way of bringing something into the world. There was no doubt something trying to come into me at that time, but for some reason I let it go, because being an artist, it makes you open to the colours and the stories really that have everything to do with our world, even though they're coming in from the outside. Those things, those colours, those sounds, symbols, everything like that is talking to you. So if you're willing to explore what's hidden in the unconscious and that whole world that lives within all of us, that lives in our spiritual soul, if you're willing to explore that and be brave enough, you will actually be a messenger of that experience you're having. And even if life feels terrible to you, you'll somehow be able, and I hope it doesn't, by the way, you know, God bless everyone, goodness me, yes. But even if life feels terrible, then you've got something to say, something in your psyche will be able to help somebody else have a better experience of whatever you've been through. And of course, as the scales of karma balance themselves, you will actually get something good coming into you, because that's the way the universe works. If we're doing our thing and we're conscientious about it and we're really doing our best at it, then we will get the best that the world has to offer in the way that applies to us, in the way that really matters. What can be a block to art, and I think what made me give it up really, was intellect, ego, that kind of thing. And you know, it's important to have an healthy ego. A lot of spiritual teachers will try and get you to say that you have no ego. I actually don't think that's terribly healthy. No disrespect to anyone else, by the way, but I don't think that's healthy. I think what we all really need is an open, healthy ego. That's the way to have a happy heart, because we'll have an ego anyway. If we didn't, we wouldn't be here, because the ego is the life force. Where someone's being egotistical, that's because they don't think they're good enough. That's always the truth, and that's why people get so big-headed, because they can't face those thoughts, those wrong beliefs that they have about themselves, that they're not good enough. Everybody is good enough in some way. So do look to your artistic side, do look inside your artistic soul, because you're almost being asked to be a parent here to some important idea that comes into the world. And if you chose this card, card number 4, it's time for you now to open yourself up to the new ideas that are coming in. And if those ideas aren't coming in, do some meditation, guys, all right? Because they are waiting to come in. They really are. And you'll find what it is you're being asked to create. The main thing then is to just let go of fears, let go of pride, and that will allow you to be brave enough to go right into your inner self, to be the hermit, as it were, go into that inner landscape and actually heal within and see what's going on in there. Messages, sounds, ideas, anything that's coming into you at the moment is going to be important to you personally. On a spiritual level, it's going to enable you to be creative, and it's going to give you a real sense of vocation as well. So pay attention to what's going on, guys. Be brave and be open as far as possible. So, guys, which one were you, eh? 1, 2, 3, 4, or were you all of them? Because as I look at these, I feel as if they're all speaking to me a little bit, one way or the other. And, you know, the human race, as different as we all are, we all have very similar needs. So I'm going to be thinking about all these 4 cards going forward. So thanks for watching. If you would like to have a reading with me, please give me a shout at 35and83@gmail.com. That's 35and83@gmail.com. I will do you a psychic reading which may include mediumship. I'm a medium. You know, you can ask a question, whatever you want to know, let me know, and I will do you either a tarot reading, an oracle reading, or I will just get the crystal ball out, because I do love working with my fluorite crystal ball there. It doesn't like resistance, so it tends to bring well, it always brings the truth, actually. I don't charge a lot. I'm afraid I have to charge a little something, but about £10 is what I'm asking at the moment, which is somewhere around, I think, sort of $12 US, maybe 13, something like that. So I'm not terribly expensive. I'm able to do that because I get lots of reading work coming in, actually. And so it is what I do. And if you'd like a reading, give me a shout. 35and83@gmail.com, 35and83@gmail.com. And I will say it again, do subscribe. There will be other subscriber giveaways coming up this week. It's this pink rhodonite bracelet, and it comes to about sort of 6.5 inches when it's, you know, wrapped round like that, and the silver daisy toggle clasp is done up. But you can remove a couple of links if you want to make it a bit shorter. You could make it looks about 3/4 of an inch shorter than it could be if you wanted it to be. So that should adjust. The best crystals always adjust to you, so I like the bracelets to adjust to you as well. Pink rhodonite is great for releasing yourself and your feelings more than anything from situations where you're with someone who really isn't helping. Quite often it's to release you from masculine oppression, from sort of an oppressive masculine force that's coming around you that isn't doing you any good. And you can actually release the troubles without releasing the person. As all these cards have shown, one way or another, you can heal a relationship. And to wear pink rhodonite makes a huge difference with that, makes all things possible. So this will be given away to a lucky subscriber. I'll announce the winner in the next couple of days. It's not going to be long. I upload every day, so subscribe to my channel, tap the bell so you don't miss anything, and you've got a chance of winning this. And we can get in touch at 35and83@gmail.com, and then I'll be able to get it off to you wherever you are in the world. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate everyone who tunes in, and I'll be back soon with more readings. Bye-bye.